In this tutorial, I'll be covering how I modeled some of the details for this Garmin GPS. Some of the details include things such as this Garmin Nuvi logo, which is a decal on the front, as well as the Debossed logo on the back, and the speaker grill pattern, which is also on the back, which is a fill pattern, and like this line groove detail, which starts in the back and wraps around to the front. So to get started, I'm going to open up my GPS that is without these details. I made a previous tutorial which will get you to this point if you haven't gotten there already, or you can just watch along and see which features you'd like and to incorporate into your own model and part files. So to get started, I'm going to click on my my depth plane and hit sketch. And I'm going to click on sketch picture. I'm going to include my back picture, and I'm going to scale the back picture to be 4.75 inches, and then I'll unlock the aspect ratio and type in 2.93 inches, and then I'm going to copy and paste the 4.75 into the X location, divide that by 2, put a minus sign in front, and that places it right into the center. And then I'm going to click this flip horizontally button and then add image transparency to 0.6. That allows me to see my sketch lines over the sketch picture easier. I'll exit out of the sketch and I'll label this sketch back pick. And I'm going to click drag this left click drag and drag it up right below the depth plane so that I'll have this picture accessible earlier on in the feature tree. Now I'm going to view, uncheck hide all types so I can see my pictures again. And if you'll notice, I can double check my radius here. This radius is not quite matching to the back picture. In my previous tutorial, I didn't have a back picture. I was kind of eyeballing it, so I'm going to make this match now. So the sketch that I need to get to is under Loft 2. You can click on the little plus sign and edit the sketch for Loft 2. And I'm going to change the 0.25 offset dimension to 0.22 and then exit out of the sketch. And that should line it up, which it does. And then I'm also going to remove this part line for a moment, this little part line here. And I'm just going to right click on the cut extrude, which is right below Loft 2. I'm going to click delete. And I'll still leave the sketch intact. I'm going to use this sketch later to bring that part line back. What I need to do is I'm going to cut this line, this little groove in first, and then I'll bring my part line back into it. So I'm going to click on the depth plane. I'll hit sketch, and I'm going to go into the back view. You can use the mouse gestures. I like the 8 mouse gestures. You can activate that by holding down the right mouse button and then going over to the line tool. And I'm going to click on the right plane and starting off at the right plane, and then clicking and tracing this image. I'm sketching on the front. I'm sorry, on the depth plane, but I started off on the right plane here. And I'm just going to adjust this line. And then I'm going to do the sketch fillet, which with the mouse gestures is lower right. Again, right click, lower right. And then I'm going to click on these lines. 0.1 is good for the radius size. I'll hit check, and check again to exit out. And that looks about right. So under features, I'll do an extruded boss / base, and then I'll uncheck merge because I don't want this to merge to this body. And then I'm going to dial in 0.04 for the, for the direction 1, I'm going to say up to surface, and then in this case I want it to go up to the front plane. And then for fin feature, I'm going to dial in 0.04. And then as you can see, I need to flip it, so I'm going to click on this direction change, and then I'll flip it to the right location, and then I can hit check. And then what I need to do, so you can see, I now have my shape. Oh, actually I need to extrude this out further. So I'm going to edit this feature. I'll right click and edit this feature. And I'm going to, under direction 2, I'm going to add 0.25. Oops, that's too big. 0.25. And hit check. Just need to make sure that it's cutting entirely through this part. I do want this part to come before the mirror. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to left click on the mirror, left click and drag mirror below this. What's really nice about Solidworks is you can always reorder the features and it will automatically update. And then I'm going to grab the feature bar in the feature tree manager and pull it up before the mirror. So now all the features that I add will be before the mirror. I'm going to go to the top view, and then under view I'll uncheck hide types so I can see my planes again. And I'm going to click on the top plane and I'll hit sketch. I'm going to draw a line starting on the right plane, tracking along with this front edge, and then drawing a vertical line down. So I've kind of made a little L shape. One horizontal and one vertical line. Then with the mouse gestures tool you can select the dimension. So again, mouse gestures, right click, and then click vertically and you'll get the dimension tool. And I'm going to click on, these are just shortcuts, the mouse gestures. I personally like them. Not everyone likes them, but I personally like them because I feel like once you learn them, it can expedite or make you more efficient. At least I find I can be faster with it. So I dial in 0.1875 for the distance here, and then I'm going to click features, and I'm going to click cut extrude. I'm just gonna cut a portion off of this white extrusion that we made. So I need to flip it though, because right now this arrow is going outwards. I need it to go inwards. So I'm gonna check the flip side to cut. You can see now the arrow's changed direction. And then under the featured scope, I'm gonna uncheck auto select. And I'm going to just select just this because I don't want to select the GPS. I don't want to cut the GPS. I only want to cut the extruded thin. And then I'll hit check. So let's see what happened there. It did cut off what I wanted. It just cut out a chunk of this. And then now what I need to do though is I'm going to show this again. And I'm going to click on surfaces. I'm going to click offset surface. And I'm going to just select every surface that is touching the white extrude thin. So basically all of these selected surfaces are going to be touching this extruded thin, so I've selected those surfaces. And I'm going to reverse the direction so it's insetting, and I'm going to change the dimension to 0.01. Or no, not 0.01, 0.008. 0.008, and then I will hit check. And then I'll hide this so you can see the surface that I created. So this surface is going to be my cutting tool. I'll use cut with surface, and then I'll select this offset that I just created, and then I'll uncheck auto select, and I'll select this as the featured scope part, and I'll hit check. And that will cut my tool. So this is going to be my tool that I'm going to utilize to cut into the GPS. So I'll show the GPS again. So I'm going to utilize this piece, and I'm going to do a Boolean difference, which is basically cutting this white chunk out of this GPS piece. So to do that, I'm going to click on features, and I need to use my combine tool. If you don't have combine tool already in your toolpath, you're going to have to go to tools, customize, commands, features, and then click drag this symbol, which is the combine tool, which is the two cubes, the green and yellow cubes, and click drag and drop it into your tool palette. So I'll click on combine, and the orientation type that I want is subtract. The main body is going to be the GPS. Body to combine is going to be this part. Then I'll hit check, and as you can see, it takes out the grooved that wraps around the front very nicely. Love it. Then I'm going to click on my fillet tool, and I'm going to fillet these little edges here, that edge and that edge, and I'll dial in to 0.02, and I'll check, and then I'll just round that out. I'll click on fillet again. This time I'll do 0.0025, and I'm going to select this edge right here. You can do a full preview if you want to preview how small it is. That's good size. And I'll hit check. And then I'm going to bring back my part line. So in order to do that, I'm going to click on the sketch that's right below Loft 2, and in my case it's sketch 6, and I'll just highlight that sketch, and I'll click on Extruded Cut, and now I can cut through this as well, cut through this little part line. So I'll dial in 0.01, and then for direction I'll change that to mid-plane like we originally had. I'll hit check, and then you can see it cuts also through this groove detail. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to deboss the Garmin logo in the back. Now in order to do that I need to mirror this, so now I can roll this bar below the mirror and it will automatically update the mirror location. And in order to bring in the Garmin logo, you need to first find a logo. I found it quite easily, and you can find many logos just by Googling. I Googled Garmin logo EPS. You can put in whatever logo you want and just put logo EPS, and it'll come up with all kinds of results. I went to this particular one, worked out, Vector of the World. I clicked on that, and this is the logo that you can download. Just click and then download it. Once you do that, I opened up the logo in Illustrator, and you can see it here. And what you're going to want to do is change the EPS, so go to File and click Export. Export the EPS as a DXF. This one right here, .dxf. Okay, I've already done it here, but then you can hit Save. And when you have a DXF, you can bring that in and use that as sketch geometry, which is really a cool feature. So I'll click on File, I'll click on Open, and then I'm going to go to the file that I have and go to my Garmin logo. And if you don't see anything, it's because you have to change this to only see .dxfs. So I click on .dxf, and then I can see my part. And now, or rather my vector geometry, and then I'll hit Open. And it'll bring up this window, this DXF/DWG import window. And what you want to click on for this particular case is Import to and New Part As. So I'll click on that, and then 2D sketch is fine. I'll hit Next. I'll verify that this is what I want. Click on Finish. And what it does, it will open up the logo as sketch entities, which is just great because I can click drag over this, which will select all the geometry, and then I can hit the Control C to copy, and then I'll go back to my part file, and I'll just click on this back face here. Oops, not this one. I clicked on this back face, and then I'll hit Sketch, and then I'll hit Control V to paste. And now you can see dropped in this huge Garmin logo. So we have to scale this down. Now I had already calculated what it would take to scale this, and you would have to do that depending on what size logo you're bringing in. But I'll talk about that in a second. You can go to Move Entities and go down to Scale Entities, and it says Scale About. The aspect ratio that I'm typing in is 0.0045. And the way that I came up with that is this logo, when I brought this logo in and I measured it, for example, you can put a box around it, And when I measured this particular logo, I'll put this here, and it came out to be about 214. So 1 over 214 came out to be about 1 over 214 came out to be about 1.0045. So that's how you do it, is you basically find out your overall size of your logo and then see what size you want to bring it in for your, like this is 1 inch, so I need to change it from 214 inches to 1 inch. So in this case, this logo is way too big, so I'm going to shrink this down. Yeah, I'm going to click on Scale Entities, and I've already got 0.0045, so I'm going to select all this geometry here, and then I'm going to click in this field, which will be where I scale it about. I'll click this point, and then hit the right mouse button for the check, and you can see it made it really, really small. And what you can do here is click on Move Entities, and then select all the geometry, and then left click, click in the start point and then left click. There, now it's gonna track around, and then I'm gonna hit F. F basically is fit to window, and then you can zoom and zoom your location. Now I'm gonna go to View, uncheck Hide All Types so that I can see my picture, and I'm just gonna zoom in and drop this picture right into place. So I'm gonna drop it right into this location, and there we go. And then I will go to Features and do a extruded cut. And I'm going to do 0.01 is fine. And I'll hit check. And there we have it. It cut in the Debossed the Garmin logo. Really cool feature to be able to convert these DXFs into sketch entities. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to include the speaker grill pattern below here. So in order to do that, I'm going to click on this face down here, and I'll sketch, and I'm going to draw a circle. I'm going to go to a back view here, and I'm going to show these circles again, and I'm just going to trace, let's say, this circle, and then I'm going to do my dimension and dimension this circle to be 0.05, and I'm going to just locate this a little bit more accurately. And then I'll just do Features, Extruded Cut, and I'll change that to 0.02, and I'll hit check, and that basically cuts a little extrusion, and then now I can pattern it. Another neat feature about Solidworks is doing these fill patterns, which will just pattern based on a particular field, or it'll fill in any particular boundary. So I clicked on that face for that boundary, and under Features to Pattern I have the Cut Extrude, and then I'm going to have to do a little bit of adjustments. So to do that, this instant spacing, I've already pre-calculated it to be 0.0662, and then on the angle I'm going to change that to 45 degrees, and that should be pretty accurate. So it looks like the holes are lining up pretty accurately there, and then I can hit check, and you can see it'll cut in that groove detail, the speaker pattern, and it'll take a little while because it's cutting all these holes out, and it chugs a little bit, but there you go. And finally I'm going to add the logo in the front. Actually, I'm gonna add this the color and then the logo. So under the display manager, rather on this part on I'm going to click on the solid bodies and click on the fill pattern, and I'm going to click on appearance and body, and I'm going to go to plastic, and I'll do medium gloss, let's say. I'll change this to the dark medium gloss. And then on this face, I'm going to add another particular color. I'm going to go to, let's see, I'm going to go to painted car, and then go to metallic warm gray, and then I'm going to change it down to this gray. Maybe that's too dark. I'll go a little bit lighter, and then change the HSV. HSV is the hue saturation value, and I'm going to change that to, let's say, 40%, and hit check. So there's a little bit of delineation between this face and that. And then I'm going to add our logo in the front. And so in order to do that, I'm just going to click on this face, and I'm going to click on Photo View 360 and click Edit Decal. And then I'm going to click on the Browse button here, and I'm going to find the logo that I want to use in particular, which will be here and here and my Garmin, this guy. And my logo file. So I have a .png, and just show you real briefly here. The PNG I have is from this. You can take again, take an EPS and take these outlines and then turn them white if you want white text on black, or white text over your part, and then just hit File and Export, and then select PNG. And this is cutting off here, so let's see here, PNG, and save it there. And that'll give you a transparent background. And so I've already done that. I'll hit Open, and you can see here that the PNG shows up here. You can click drag the logo around, and I'm gonna scale this, but to do that I'm just gonna go to View, uncheck Hide All Types, so I can see my logo underneath, and then I'll just scale it to match. It's gonna be close, might not be exact, but that's okay. So it's about there. It's right around there. And then in this particular decal, I'm going to click Use Decal Image Alpha Channel. That'll get rid of the black. And then you can see, I'll hit check. And then I'll hit View, Hide All Types, and then there is the logo. So that concludes this tutorial. I hope you've enjoyed watching it, and happy modeling.